Hi everyone, this is Mary. You are watching another little piece of my art, and I'm going to do the haul for the month of May 2025. So if I buy anything else next weekend or whatever, I'll just save it for the following haul. But I did get things for Mother's Day that I didn't show yet, so I thought I would show those today. And what's not in this haul is I did purchase a large bin thing of like scrapbook and stationery supplies, but it was so much in there that I gave it its own video, and it's probably the last video on my page under videos if you want to watch that. It had quite a bit of stuff packed in there. So okay, we'll just go ahead and start. We went to some estate sales and some yard sales and garage sales this past weekend. Estate sales seem to be really popular here. They hire, maybe it's because we have a lot of elderly people here, but I think what they do is hire these companies, and then the company comes in and prices everything for the family, I suppose, or whoever, getting the stuff, whoever was left that stuff. And then you just go ahead and pay them, and then they take a percentage, I think is how it works. Excuse me. That wasn't quite as big of a thing in Ohio, but it is really big here. So we do end up going to a lot of those. So I'll show you some things that I got. I got this mini paper cutter. And all of the blades for the Fiskars cutters, no matter the length, the size that you get, are interchangeable. And I have several refill packs because I used to do a lot of stuff with scrapbooking paper, and after a while you get tired of cutting it, plus you can never get as straight of a line as you want. But this was a nice small one, and sometimes when I'm messing around with photos and stuff, I'm just too lazy to go dig out the big one. So I got this little one, and you can snap it into a binder. So I was like, that's cool. And we found these. These are new. They haven't been used or colored in, I mean. Like the paper hasn't come off them yet. They're pocket coloring books. There were like two of the same one. It looks like little robot themes. I guess they came from Target at one point in time, but it's 80 sheets of coloring fun. And I think it has to do with robots. So if you can see the pictures there. I don't know. I'm not going to open them and show you the pages because I don't know if I'm going to save them for giveaways or maybe like for my grandsons, the two that like art. They might each get one when they come to visit. I'm not really sure. I just know that, my husband just looked at me and said, get them both. I'm like, okay. So there they are. And then this was sitting there with it, so I assumed that it is a pencil case. My husband was like, I don't think that's a pencil case. I said, I absolutely think it's a pencil case, although this part would drive me crazy if I was keeping it, the lace part. But yeah, it zips all the way down and then all the way up, so, it's meant to hold something enclosed in there. And it says like skate on there with the skeletons and stuff. So my 15-year-old grandson is really into drawing. He doesn't really use pencils and things like that as far as colored ones. He just likes his regular pencils, and he just, sketches it with lead. So I don't know if I'm going to give it to him or my younger one. My younger one also loves pencil, just regular pencil, but he does like markers too. So either which way, this can hold a few things, not a ton of things, but I thought it was super cute and boyish. And so, yeah, it came home with me. I got this. I think this was at the thrift store. There's one thrift store that we go to that is like for homeless people. In other words, all the money goes to them, and when they come in, they're allowed to pick out like clothing and things like that. So I like to frequent there whenever possible because I feel like they're really, doing something in this particular community. Anyway, I saw this particular journal, and it is by Paper Source. I haven't looked this up yet, so I don't know anything about this paper, but I liked the size of it because I'm working in a a full-size sketchbook, and then I also work in the 4x4 size one that you see me show a lot in my shorts. This is right in the middle, but it has this weird, I don't know why this, unless somebody just did that, but there's just, I was like, what is that hole for? Oh, okay, there's a piece ripped out missing, so maybe they had an idea in mind for the journal or whatever, and it didn't work out that way, and they just donated it. I have no idea, but I thought the texture of the paper was not something, because you know me, I like paper with texture. I am a texture girl when it comes to coloring or sketching, all of it. The really shiny paper, I never know what to do with because I don't really use marker that much, but this one is more shiny. So I thought, hey, maybe I can branch out and try some different things, and that I would be more confident in using markers if I had the right paper, because markers don't do well on most of the papers that I have. So I just grabbed that. That is the Chihuahua being feral. I don't know if I told you guys, but when my girls were visiting, she was so feral to the baby. So the baby was minding his own business, but he was, you know, squeaking and jumping around in his little bouncy seat, things that babies do. And she was losing her mind, like literally barking for just 15-20 minute stretches at a time. And so we had to call her dog sitter and take her over there after like day 3, because there was no way we're going to make it. I think she needs medication. I'm going to be honest with you, but so she's still adjusting to life getting back to normal, as am I. I am so tired. Like, I just can't seem to get my groove back for whatever reason. I don't know, it's just weird. I'm still trying to do my lengthy walks, and maybe I'm just overdoing it. And of course, it is in the 90s here now. Real feel was 100. Sometimes that can like sap the energy out of you. So hopefully, we'll see what happens if I feel any better. If not, I'll have to get some blood work. But I did notice that my diet has gone bad again since it's warm days. And you know, when you're out and stuff, it's more of a tendency to just grab, let me just grab some fries. Oh my goodness. Let me just grab some fries or something like that. And so my stomach's starting to hurt again. So I need to like, I don't know, restart myself. Okay, so let's see what else. Okay, so we also have the flea market. We have 2 flea markets. One's outdoor and one's indoor. I was at the outdoor flea market, and this man had a bunch of stuff just kind of thrown on tables, like, you know, just emptying stuff out. So if you know anything about traveler's notebooks, or what they used to call Midori, there was one leather cover in a field notes size, which is this, and these would be the notebooks that you would place inside the elastics inside your leather cover. And so I've always heard so much about these books, but they are not cheap if you Google for yourself. And also they come out like every year, like they'll do special commemorative covers on them and things like that. And it's just a little notebook. Like, I'm not really sure what makes it that special, but I'm going to find out, because when I was looking at that table, he had 2 of these. And I mean, I know what they are, but apparently he does not. And I was like, well, what kind of price do you have on your field notes books there? And he said, you can have them for $25. And I was like, do you have any more? That was my first question. He said, no, and looked at me like I was crazy. But you know how we are about our stationery, right? So this paper is kind of, it almost feels like it has a plastic coating on it. I don't know if I can get the light to catch it the right way. I can't. But it says inside, or is it on the back? Maybe it was, okay, here we go. This tells you like all the things you can use them for, which, you know, I don't need to read you because it's paper. You can use it for whatever you want. But somewhere on here, it does say that the best things to use on it are pencil. Wait a minute. Let's see. My goodness, it took me forever to find it in this tiny. But right here, it says use pencil / ballpoint for best results. So yeah, this paper, you know, for lists and things like that, but because you know what field notes are, right? You've seen it in movies where they're out in the field somewhere taking notes on birds or the land or the water, whatever. That's what it was for, but a lot of people use these to draw in and whatnot. But since it said for pencil and ink, I was like, well, I don't, you know, I'm not going to attempt, I don't think, to get my watercolor on here because it just feels like this is just, it would just go like beat up. That's how the paper feels. So when I was at the Dollar Tree, I had made a short about my trip the other day. The only thing I bought was these. These are Jot Brand writing erasable pens. So they're all just the same color. They're all black, medium black. But the reason I wanted those, I do have some of the other erasable pens, but they're in colors. And I usually use those for like writing in my journal and my personal diary. I have 2 or 3 or 4 of those friction pens, they're called. But these ones here, I thought would be great for sketching in, if the notebook says it's, you know, good for pen, sketching in, and then when you sketch in pen, which I love to do, there are times when you are going to mess up. So to have an erasable pen, I thought would be a great idea. And the blacks. So they're little, I don't know, cats, bears. What do you want them to be? Mice? Bear. This looks like a cat. This looks like a bear. Maybe that's a puppy. Who knows? But, oh, okay. That's a very large protector, isn't it? Okay, this is too shiny probably to erase. And I'm not sure if I want to write in the book yet, but oh, the ink really flows nicely. And so then your eraser is on the bottom. So you erase. I should have let that dry. That's my fault. Now I'm smearing it around, but it does work. And I showed my grandson erasable pens, and he was amazed. So there it is. It's gone. But yeah, I think that's going to be a popular seller at the Dollar Tree, in my opinion, for people that like that kind of thing, I guess. So I got that. What else did I get? Okay, books. So... well, first I'll show you this. My daughter got me these for Mother's Day. Among other things, my daughter's got me so much stuff and flowers and everything, and I won't show you all of them. But these were Wizard of Oz collector's cards, and she said she thought I could use them for journaling. And they have like, you know, the scene on the back, but they're so cool. I loved these, and I have quite a collection of Wizard of Oz memorabilia, probably more than I should have at this point in my life, but that's my favorite besides Dracula. Both of them are, really. But yeah, so she got me these, and I don't know if I could put them in a journal because it just seems like, you would just slap it in there and then it's gone, you know. So I don't know really what I will use these for yet. Maybe if I did put them in the journal, I could just make a little pocket so they wouldn't be ruined by the glue. I'm not sure. I just know that I love looking at them. They're so cool. So yeah, she also got me a picture, but I don't have it out here. It's actually on the wall. So, but I just want to show you that because journaling stuff could be anything, right? I mean, literally trash. Junk journaling is huge right now. And I've been doing that for years and years. It is so hot. It is so hot out that my drink already went warm from when I began this video. Okay, so I have quite a stack of books here. Well, I guess not that big of a stack, but so I've been picking up these type of books for inspiration for gouache painting, because I've explained this before, but if you're new, hello, welcome. If you're new and you wonder why I would want a physical book instead of just looking at my phone, it's because I find it very annoying when my phone keeps timing out, and I get out of the flow having to stop and turn my phone back on. So I prefer to have the physical thing to look at. That's a beautiful picture, isn't it? What was this one? This one is New England. So you're going to get all kinds of beaches and ports and the rocky cliffs that are the beloved scenic New England standards. Look at that one. But anyways, I won't bore you with this whole thing. If there's anything you want to see an entire flip through of, just let me know. Most people aren't really that interested in other people's books, I guess. But it's New England, a photographic portrait by J. Dennis Robinson. So there's that. Then this one is Our Subtropical Paradise, a profile of East Central Florida's threatened environment by Donald Lindley. And I got a bonus with this one because it had a newspaper clipping in here from February 28th of 1995. And I said, that is such a weird coincidence because my oldest daughter was born on February 28th. And then her brother that was born after her was born in 1995. It was like combining their birthdays. But yeah, we were reading this while we were out to dinner, talking about the history of Florida, you know, auto racing, and the beaches here people wonder why you can drive on the beach here, and it's because if you learn the history of the area, you find out that drag racing kind of thing was started on the beaches in Florida. Like, they did it on the beach before they actually made the track here and everything. So people would come here because of the miles and miles of straight hard beach, and the driving stuck. And so this particular area is very big on NASCAR and all that stuff. So a brief historical portrait there for you. But anyway, so this one is just I found this book very interesting. It didn't have, tons of pictures that I think I would want to paint. It had a few, but just reading, so the back part was like how the environment is changing, making things, become endangered and stuff like that. But the beginning part had some pretty things in there. The beach, of course. That's a great picture there. You want to look for, maybe not you, but me, I try to look for very simple things that I can paint, since I have no, like, I'm just doing this for fun. I'm not a painter or anything like that. Because you could very easily take these leaves out if you wanted to and just paint this perspective of the beach. I seem to like to paint the beach a lot, but it tends to look the same from my perspective because of where I sit when I'm there. So it's nice to have things of reference. But this picture right here is just so pretty. But yeah, that's what this is about, coastal wetlands. This is Florida, if ever, right? It's such a dreamy, intoxicating place. I love where I live so much, but I just miss everybody really so much, you know. When they go home, I go through a bit of a depression. But that's the way it is. And let's see, what else? So I have Florida's fabulous seashells and other seashore life. Wow, say that 10 times fast. So this one was probably my favorite find. I love shells anyway, but to learn about. And so then me and the girls were like looking at the shells I have here that I have found to see how rare they are or not rare they are. And it was really cool. Really, 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 really cool to learn this much about it. So now I'm like on a mission. I don't know if you guys remember. I think I manifested this book to myself because you remember me saying a few videos back that I was looking on eBay and found a field guide to seashells that I was wanting to order. Well, I never ordered it. And then I found this. So now I don't have to because I have been reading this book and trying to memorize the different shells. And then, you know, two, they're just beautiful. And why would you not want to paint shells if you like that kind of thing? If you don't, you don't. These angel wings, I find these often, but I've never found one that is not broken yet. So I'm on a mission to find one that has not been broken yet. You know, like a piece of it will be broken because of the beach being drivable. If you're not there when the tide is coming in and dropping off what's inside the water, then by the time you get there, the beach has been driven on. So a lot of our shells are destroyed. So yeah, you have to get there early. And my daughter did find a pretty large shell. The largest shell I've ever seen anyone find on Daytona Beach, my daughter found because we went really early. She was so excited. She screamed, "Mommy, Mommy," from across the beach. She was running in my direction. I thought something happened. No, she was holding a shell in her hand. And then I found this one. It's a big boy. This one is Weather, the Forces of Nature that Shape Our World. I found this one at also the thrift store that's for the homeless community. What is the name of it called? Daytona Outreach, I believe is the name of it. I got this one though because it has all the skies. It's weather, so there's a lot of skies, and I really find skies interesting in the way that, you know, the light makes them look just so different every day. It's like, how do we have another new sky, you know? And all of the different things that can happen to change the sky. So I thought this would help me not only in coloring and sketching, but just to identify things that I see all the time and wonder about. I'm a giant child at heart. I've told you guys this before, and I would be a student forever. Like, if I could go to college for free just to go, I would. I love to learn things, and yeah, I feel like life is so short that you can't possibly learn everything that you want to learn, or at least I can't. So I'm always up for discovering something new. So there's that one. And then, oh, here's a very small book. And I have another small book. It's a teeny lighthouse book, and on the end of a piece of ribbon is a little miniature lighthouse. Where is that? I don't know where I would show you. My daughter got this for me. It is also a miniature journal. It looks to be pretty old, maybe the 80s, 90s, I don't know. Sometimes it can look older because of our weather here does weird stuff to glue. But anyway, this part you can take out, and I might do that and put in one of my own journals. Let me see, is this one glue bound? Because glue bound journals, yeah. So the pages that have the glue, when you're working in a really small journal like this, because you're handling it a lot, they tend to fall out. So I've had better luck. I've completed a mini journal before, and that's on my channel as well, But I've had better luck with little mini books that are sewn and not glue bound. So I might just take this out and put my own in there. But it looks like it had a little, maybe a keychain right there, because there's a little hole. It would be cute if you could put a little mini pencil in there. I have a thing for miniature stuff. I hear that's quite common, so. And then I found this at a garage sale, and I think she charged me $1 for it. We had some other things, and everything together was like $5, so yeah, it was $1 or under. But it's Gnomes in the Neighborhood by Denise Klett. I have never had any of her books before, and there was nothing colored in here. Well, look, I'm wrong. There was one thing. Oh, okay. That's it, I guess. Let me make sure I'm not lying. But anyway, you know, these books are a little bit old now, but I still think that they're cute. We have a gnome tree in my town, and people from all over that travel here will leave a gnome, and they will write their name or their, you know, like their first name and what state and city they came from. And it's like a whole legend thing that if you leave a gnome under the gnome tree, the gnomes will bring you back again one day. So anytime someone comes to visit me, they always bring a new gnome to make sure they're going to come back. So I kind of like gnomes. I haven't been inspired much lately by these tiny little doodly pages, but there are some of them here. I was looking at it while I was there. Some of them that aren't too bad. So we'll see, you know, if I decide that I don't want to keep it or don't think I'm going to use it, then, you know, I can always pass it on. But I just felt like for $1, you know, it was hard to resist, because she was probably going to just donate everything or trash it afterwards, whatever didn't sell, because they had been sitting out there, she said, for 2 days in the real feel of 100-degree weather, and you could tell she was over it. So yeah. Okay, now the rest of the stuff is stuff that was gifted or purchased when the girls were here. So I got these. I purchased these. These came from Top Shelf, and these are Faber-Castell skin tones. I did do just a little video, the shorts, just to show you the swatches, but I'm going to color something with these. Now, I since learned that I guess the black, so these are black, the pencil itself. The black edition pencils maybe are made from, I think they said they're made from recyclable materials, so that's nice. Hexagon shape, and I used them on my small miniature journal to swatch, and that's very toothy paper, and they seem to do a great job. So I think that I'm gonna like these. They seem very soft, not as soft as Prisma, and I don't know about the blending yet, so we'll have to learn that together. But I have the Lyra skin tone set, which is, you know, a pretty high-end skin tone set of pencils, or more expensive than these, let's put it that way. And they're the fat ones. And then I have like the Crayola ones, the Colors of the World. So like I was like thinking something in between the two. So you can get these if you have a Pop Shelf. You can get these for $8 for the 12 of them. And they seem to have been carrying them for a while now. So if it's something that you end up liking and you want to get more of, it's not going to be like gone, you know, I hope. Because that does happen in some of those discount stores, you know. They have closeouts and buyouts, and then they're gone. I got these, and we are going to try these out. Not today, but another day. I saw another person show these on YouTube. These are acrylic spray paints. Now, they looked really cool. This is from Five Below. This looked worth $5 to me. So from what she showed, so there's 8 of them in here. And if you like the Tim Holtz sprays and stains and stuff like that, this might be something that you'd be interested in. If you're watching me just from being a coloring book friend of mine, you can, of course, put a piece of paper on your page that covers, you know, your image if you want to spray the back, or you could use masking fluid if it's, you know, something small. I wouldn't want a masking fluid a whole entire image if it's big, though. That would be very tedious. Or if you just like to play around with paper and journal and add something, a little oomph to your sketchbook, then these might be interesting to you. So maybe tomorrow, I don't know. We'll see how I feel. We'll do a little spritz of them and see the colors. So I was excited about that, because when I saw them on YouTube, I was like, oh, I really love those. Those look so pretty, but I know they'll never be at my Five Below. And there they were. Here is something else that I thought was a fabulous deal, because if you've been watching, you'll know. I'm going to show you. Hold on. Okay. These are the items that I paint on for my gouache paintings. This is a cereal box that I opened up. It serves its purpose, but it's not that pretty to look at. And then if it's a smaller thing, then I can use this from the Dollar Tree. But you know, I only use this when I'm working in that 4x4 book, because that's a pretty small inside area. So I did find this, and I was pretty stoked, because I have looked at these in other places, and they're usually about 20 bucks. So this is a 16 by 20 silicone craft mat, and hang on, I will open it. Okay, you don't get a choice on the color, I don't think. No, I believe they were all this color. But here you go. Now, this is annoying to me, because everybody always assumes that everybody in the world is right-handed. So there's a little rest for your brushes, which means that I would have to literally cross over my own artwork and drag my arm through it to get to that. So I won't be using that. But here's your little wells that you can put your paints in, or mix your paints depending on what you're doing. Why is my phone doing that? And then over here we have your collapsible cup. Huh? Is that great? I love this. And it is plenty big enough for my sketchbook. There's even a little, what is going on? There's even a little measuring grid here at the bottom if you need that. Say, you know, to know what size paper you want your painting to be, you know, like say you're using a bigger piece of paper and you're like, well, I want it to be like this, whatever. But there's that. So yeah, if you are in the market for one of these, check out your Five Below, because I mean, I don't know how long they've been there. Never noticed them before, and I go to Five Below probably about once a month. I try not to go too much, because I always find stuff I want. Oh, okay. And then these two items were a gift to me. So these are 28 illustration markers, and they have brush tip and let's see what the other, I think fine liner. Now I'm going to tell you, I had a set of markers that look very similar to these Oh, that is very fine. That my father-in-law bought me, the one, my husband's stepfather, that he bought me from Wish many years ago. And I loved those markers. I used them until the very last one gave out, which was ironically probably maybe 3 or 4 weeks after he passed away. So I'm hoping, because the font and everything looked the same and the way there was no name on them, I am hoping that they are the same thing, like, you know, coming out of the same type of factory. But there is the colors that you get, and oh, here's the swatches. Did I just show you that? I don't know, but we're going to do a test. So I think the ones that were from Wish seemed like, and it could have just been an earlier version of the same thing, but I felt like the nib, like the brush tip part, was longer. I could just be crazy. It's been suggested. Yeah, let's see. So I like them. From what I can see on this terrible piece of paper, which, you know, I should have brought my sketchbook out, but I'm telling you, I'm just not right. But if you guys want swatches of these, you know, done by me, not the manufacturer, let me know. I think it's interesting how that they've chose to do this picture of the buildings on the front, because I have an interest in urban sketching. But one of the things that has always hindered me a little bit is that when I'm looking at a building, and there's so many of beautiful buildings here for me to see, like, I always want to put the building in the colors that buildings should be, you know what I mean? Where it could really be any color, and I find it interesting that I would think that way, and then here, like, you have buildings that seem a little bit more colorful. I mean, that looks pink or reddish, coral color. I don't know how it's coming across to you. I mean, yeah, you have beige and brown, but really you could use, like, instead of having gray, you could use a different color, but that's equal in tone to the gray. I have to teach myself how to not see things so literally when it comes to color and stuff, because it just makes it a lot more fun. And I do follow a couple guys on YouTube that do urban sketching, and it's hard. It's a lot harder than it looks, I think, because I'm always trying to make my lines so straight, and the perspective is so hard for me. But the one guy that I follow, I can't think of his name, he just does stuff like crooked and celebrates the fact that it's crooked. He calls them wonky little fishing shacks. And if I could just get myself to be able to do that, then that would be great, because, you know, freedom to just create and not criticize. And then I got also these for Mother's Day. So this is the gouache set that I'm working through right now. I love this gouache set. I wasn't a fan of the other one, but it ended up molding on me anyway. The smaller set with the more traditional colors that Five Below sells. I don't know if they changed the formula. I really don't know what's going on. But these are thicker, and they come in these beautiful colors. And for where I live and what I see every day, these colors are perfect for me. So my daughter wanted to make sure that I don't run out, because if people can't get their stuff from Temu and AliExpress and all of those places, they're going to start buying it from the stores, and the stores are going to become, the shelves are going to become empty, you know. So she was wanting to encourage me to continue with experimenting with gouache painting, because she thinks that I have a knack for it. And so I appreciate that. So I'm not going to open these, of course, until my other set is empty. And you get quite a bit. Someone was measuring these ones, the cups, against the the Himi gouache, and these are bigger, so they're less expensive and bigger. You know, of course, they're not as good quality, but I feel like they layer well. You can get coverage in one coat depending on the color, but they blend like a dream. Like, I love these gouaches. So that's it. That is all I have for you today. I'm looking around to make sure, because I always get so annoyed when I find something that I forgot and then I have to keep it out until the next video. I don't see anything. So thank you all for watching, and I'm recording this on Sunday, but usually I don't post till Monday because I feel like everybody needs a pick-me-up on a Monday. So that's probably when you'll see this, would be on Monday. So I hope you all had a great weekend, and I'll see you next time. Bye.